I would like to start with an acknowledgement of country. In the spirit of reconciliation, the AEC acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their continuing connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respect to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. Welcome to our education session on referendums. My name is Liz and I work for the Australian Electoral Commission. We run federal elections, by-elections and referendums. Have you ever wondered how a referendum works? Do you know who has the power to change the Australian Constitution? In this session, we aim to answer those questions and more. Today we'll talk about what referendums are, how they work, and how you can make sure that your vote is included. On Saturday, the 14th of October this year, a referendum will be held on whether to alter the Constitution to recognise the First Peoples of Australia by establishing an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice. We can't discuss the referendum topic or whether you agree with it or not, but we can talk about the process of referendums and voting. For more information on the yes and no cases for the referendum, you can read the yes-no pamphlet prepared by the parliamentarians who voted for and against the proposed law. Before we discuss this process, why should you vote in the referendum? It's important we all have our say in this change so that everyone's opinions are heard. In Australia, it's compulsory for all Australian citizens aged 18 and over to enrol and vote in federal elections and referendums. If you are already on the electoral roll for federal elections, you will be on the electoral roll for this referendum. Enrolment additions and updates for the upcoming referendum closed on Monday, the 18th of September. First, a bit about the Constitution and referendums. The Constitution is a set of rules by which Australia is run. It's like a rulebook for our government. There are rules about how the Constitution can be changed, just like you might have at a club or a community group. Australia's Parliament can't change the Constitution, but they can suggest a change. It is then up to the people of Australia to decide by voting in a referendum. We're now going to discuss options to vote. We want to make it as easy as possible for people to vote and are currently booking around 7,000 places around Australia, known as polling places. You can find the nearest polling place to you on our website. We also detailed the accessibility of our polling places, including equipment that is available such as text-to-speech pens and hearing loops. If you can't get to a polling place on the day of the referendum, you may be eligible to vote at one of our pre-poll voting centres. These open on the 2nd of October. Our remote voting teams will start visiting remote areas from the 25th of September. Our mobile voting teams will start visiting establishments such as residential care facilities from the 2nd of October. You might also be eligible to apply for a postal vote if, for example, on voting day, you are outside of the division where you are enrolled or you are seriously ill. Here's what you need to do. Apply for a postal vote online or use a paper form. When it arrives, fill out your voting form, known as a ballot paper. Place your ballot paper and the postal vote certificate in the replied paid envelope as per instructions. More information on postal vote eligibility and our other voting options is available at aec.gov.au. It's important to remember that your vote is a secret. No one can tell you how to vote. It's your decision. When you arrive at the polling place, before you get your ballot paper, the AEC staff will look up your name on the list of voters, known as the electoral roll. To help find your name on the list, you'll be asked some questions. What is your full name? This means your first and last name, also known as your voting name. We need to ask this so that you can be found on the electoral roll. Where do you live? This means the address that you gave when you enrolled to vote. You need to be asked this so that the AEC can be sure that they have found the correct person and not someone else with the same name. Have you voted before in this referendum? We need to make sure that voters are only voting once. If your name is not found on the electoral roll, you can still vote. The AEC staff will tell you what you should do. Once your name is found on the electoral roll, your name will be marked off and you'll be given your ballot paper. The ballot paper has important information to help you vote correctly. This is called a formal vote. You can ask someone to help you. The AEC staff can assist you, or you can nominate someone else, such as a friend or a relative. When you get to the polling place, you'll be given a ballot paper that looks something like this. You'll see the heading, Referendum on Proposed Constitutional Alteration. This is where you'll find the proposed law. This will have a description of the proposed constitutional change that you have to decide whether you approve of or not. Here is the question, do you approve this proposed alteration? And the box next to it is where you write your answer yes or no. It is important to write yes or no in English to make sure that your vote is counted. All other responses become a judgment call as to the intent of the voter, and that could mean that your vote is not counted. We have a practice voting tool on the AEC website if you want to see what it looks like. Go to our website and search Practice Voting. Once you write your answer on the ballot paper, put your paper in the voting box, known as the ballot box. This is a box that securely holds the votes until the AEC is ready to count them. On voting day, after everyone has finished voting, the AEC opens the ballot box and counts the votes. For a referendum to be passed and the Constitution to be changed, a double majority is required. A majority means more than half. A double majority means that more than half of the voters in Australia and more than half of the voters in 4 of the 6 states must vote yes. During a referendum, there are a lot of things that are said and written about how you should vote. This may be on the radio, social media, in a newspaper, or part of a talk with other people. Some of the information may be important for you to think about, but some of the information may be wrong, either accidentally or on purpose. It's important to stop and consider the information that we see and hear, to work out if we can trust it to help make our decision. If you're an Australian citizen and you'd like to see how referendums work, you can work for the AEC as a temporary employee during the referendum. These are short-term paid employment opportunities, and you'll be offered on-the-job training, a unique work experience, and the opportunity to contribute to your community. The AEC is a politically neutral organisation, and all temporary employees need to complete a political neutrality declaration form. More information is available when you register your interest online. In today's session, we have discussed what a referendum is, how to fill out a ballot paper, how the result is decided, including what a double majority is, and how to stop and consider the information that you use to make your decision. Thank you for taking the time to learn about the referendum process. Please share what you have learned with others in your community.
Authorised by the Electoral Commissioner, Canberra.